Kobe Bryant has it. Whatever that it is, Al, he has it.
First time he walked out, I said, he's got it.
Yep.
People reacted. And I knew he was going to be a big star.
You know, we talk about the X Factor. You definitely have it.
He embodies this Generation X in a way that you buy, and whatever it means, and no one can get a handle out of it.
Here's the one thing I love about Zeke. Some guys just have it.
There's a vibe. There's an indescribable it factor. They don't teach it in the Wharton School of Business. It's not something you can even learn. There's just an it.
The Fame Series, Part 1. You can call it the X Factor, star power, je ne sais quoi, it, aura, or many other things. But we all know that there's a special something about some people that completely fascinates us. And we've made a lot of guesses about what it may be. It seems to include talent, charisma, power, what a person has done, or even good looks. But each of these seems to only go so far. A person can have it without showing their face or past or voice, and they could be either an emperor or an outsider with no status at all. They can be physically perfect or physically flawed, and draw us to them nonetheless. All of these things make the issue really confusing. So what is actually happening? Well, I found an answer to this that goes much deeper than any one personal trait, and is part of what makes us all human. So, let's get into it. First, we often think of feelings as primitive leftovers that we're supposed to ignore, but I found that they play an important role in controlling the likelihood of our actions, which studies have found too.
A stroke victim will sometimes have their reasoning brain disconnect from the center part which governs emotions. And this shocked scientists. These people have problems making decisions.
And sometimes it's important that we stop what we're doing and pay attention to something, because we can learn from it. And sometimes the thing to pay attention to is another person. What that person has or has done can mean that we can learn a lot from watching them. And so we have a certain pleasure chemical in our brain that kicks in and makes us want to pay attention to certain people so we can study what they do and learn to do it ourselves. That hypnotism, that strong focus on someone that we go into, is the feeling that we call being starstruck, or feeling star power, or someone's aura, or those other things. And in this case, it's coming when someone shows that they're exceptionally fit in one way or another.
When kids would come on the set, it was unbelievable. I mean, they would literally be speechless.
And the kids go into a trance in front of the bat suit. It's amazing to watch.
How good was Jordan on Saturday Night Live?
He was a stud. It was the most you stared at somebody wherever he went.
So, let's look at an example. In this case, Boba Fett, who we showed earlier. You don't see his face, but in the short time he's on screen in Star Wars, his personal fitness stands out in a lot of ways. He has his own special ship. He uses tricks that we haven't seen before. And not only that, he's respected by the most powerful characters in the movie.
What if he doesn't survive?
The Empire will compensate you if he dies.
On top of that, he doesn't need anyone else. He only shows up when it's in his own interest. Things like these make our brain realize that someone has ability, and we feel it more when you put all those together. So we get the urge to watch that person and learn more about them. But it gets even more interesting than that. And this is where we start to see some things about us as people. So, let me say it like this. A few years ago, there were some popular videos that showed that chickens have a type of natural Steadicam in their necks. But actually, people have that too. Focus your eyes on one thing and move your head around, and you'll stay focused on it. Now, likewise, birds are known to flock, moving in organized patterns as a group, which to me is almost indescribably beautiful. A lot of people find that mysterious too, but it's simple to understand if they're all simply following certain birds. And that is something we share too. An instinct that organizes our group in real time, making us efficient by having us follow whichever members of our group are the best at whatever it is we need to do. And instincts can start out serving one purpose, then develop to do something else for us, which is exactly what I found happened with this urge to study and follow people who are the best at certain things. And one of the keys to this, that makes it clear that this feeling developed to be part of how we organize our groups, is that we're not just attracted to who someone is or what they do, but what they might be or do. Because the first people to recognize the next leader actually benefit by helping that person be recognized by others. thus making us just as fascinated by people with emerging talent, even if there's nothing to learn from them yet. And that process that we go through is how we naturally organize our groups. And it's very efficient because it's based on what we actually show to each individual person, instead of what we just say or claim when most people aren't even paying attention. And as we can see by how fascinated we are by it, these feelings are very powerful. They have to be, because they overcome our own natural habits and self-interest, elevating other people, forcing change, and reorganizing our whole human societies in real time. So, while we notice people's looks, ability, or actions when we talk about them being a star, what actually gives someone star power is causing change. Whether their ability makes them the new person to study or rely on, whether their looks can make them the new, most desirable mate, or whether their actions can make the world different. And there are hundreds of examples here that we can look at, but I want to start with one of the most mysterious and star-making personality traits that a person can have: charisma, which we'll learn about by looking at one of the biggest movie stars of all time, Tom Cruise. And that is going to be part 2, so stay tuned, and if you like this vid, give it a share. Thanks.